Hey guys, it's me, Smurf Girl. Oh, I had to be on the plane for like 3 or 4 hours waiting for repairs, just sitting in the same seat, just in the on the plane, just at the gate. My last transfer, I had a lot of hours to just sit there and contemplate about this weekend, about Friday. Now I'm thinking about the walk I had from my car to the airport. I was having flashbacks the entire time, and triggers and fear, and how it's even worse, but it's like flashbacks of clarity. It was an intense weekend, or an intense, couple days, and I can't even explain it. I can't talk about it, but until the episode airs, but I can't even tell you the horrors that our fellow brothers and sisters have suffered and are still suffering. And they're all really similar and just as horrific as the next. It's like it's all kind of just hitting me right now walking through the parking lot, thinking like how different and how much I've changed just in the last couple days. Sitting on that panel. I want to tell you, when I was sitting on the panel, I was having such intense flashbacks. I couldn't even speak by the time it was my turn. I just couldn't even speak. Like I was literally speechless, without speech. When you're finally in a room with a bunch of people who have experienced the same thing as you, but your story is just so graphic that you know that you can't even say it on TV. That just kind of hits you in the gut. Your reality is too graphic for TV. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. But the stories were just one after the next. More awful, but similar. There's a huge problem with sexual abuse in the organization. More huge than what we even thought. It's a global epidemic, pandemic of biblical proportions. That's all I can say. It's of biblical proportions. And it's called the Jehovah's Witnesses. It's the most awful thing I've ever experienced. Where it'll leave you with your mouth just hanging open, and to us it was just reality. It was just normal. None of us in the room were really shocked at the next story, the next. None of us were even shocked or even doubted the other stories, really. That was like, oh yeah, I totally believe you. Like, I completely believe you because I experienced it myself. And I don't know. The sad part is that the leaders of the Jehovah's Witnesses know these stories because they're reported to Bethel. They hear them. They know they're true. And the only reason for the 2-witness rule is because they only take seriously the ones that have a witness to them, because that's the only way that it'll spread. They know if there's a witness to that kind of abuse, the gossip's gonna spread. And so those are the ones we need to catch. Those are the ones we need to catch. The other ones that have no witnesses, they can control those ones. Because there's a loophole in the Jehovah's Witness organization. There's a loophole that pedophiles like my parents knew about, and they used to talk about it right in front of me. That as long as you confess to the elders, and the elders forgive you, because then you get Jehovah's forgiveness, when they go to the victim of the abuser, the elders are going to tell that victim, but he confessed, he's sorry, and Jehovah forgave him, and so you need to forgive him. 77 times 7 times, you need to forgive him. If Jehovah can forgive him, which really means the elders, you need to too. And I remember the elders saying this to me, that after my abusers confessed and they forgave them, they punished them by like counseling them, not just fellowshipping, but just counseled, or ripping them, ripping them a new one. I don't even know what happened, just like verbally. They went to me and they said, now if you repeat what happened after Jehovah's forgiven that person, and after you forgive your abuser, if you repeat what happened, your abuser can then accuse you of slander. And so I was told never to repeat my abuse, otherwise the elders would disfellowship me for slandering my abusers, which my abusers were my parents and my other members of my family, because I was from a very incestuous, abusive family. And yeah, so after Jehovah forgave my abusers, I was supposed to too, because otherwise I was not a very forgiving Christian. That's the loophole that pedophiles find in the organization. And then they also, when they feel like they had forgiveness, they felt like their conscience was clear. They were cleared of all guilt because they had confessed to the elders, and then they had gotten also forgiveness from their victim. So then they felt free from sin and reproach themselves. They didn't feel guilt. And then they felt the way that they could pay for their sins as well as to be just, if they got disfellowship for a little time or something like that, that was their way of getting forgiveness, just like going to a priest, and that's how pedophiles get away in the organization, why they keep re-offending, because then they have a clear conscience, then they do it again, and then they do it again, and then they confess again. And as long as there's no witnesses, nothing major ever needs to be done. As long as they can get the victims to forgive. And if they move congregations, that's another thing. If they move congregations and there's no letter sent, or sometimes the letter, like in my parents' situation, they didn't even read their file. My dad never tried to become an elder again because he knew he wouldn't be able to, because he was an elder before. So he didn't even try. And so he knew the chances are, after that initial reading of that pedophile letter in the blue envelope, he knew that if you transfer congregations, they hardly ever go through a person's file because the elders are so lazy. Because when I reported my father finally to the new set of elders, after more repressed memories came back, because when I didn't get help, I just like snapped and I like blocked everything out because it was so horrific. I was sent home with my abusers, and I just kind of snapped and blocked it all. But when I started to remember again, and the elders are like, well, I don't even know if I've looked in his file. They only look if somebody's in trouble or wants to be, wants to have a privilege of some sort. And so if they don't do that, then they never get their file looked at. And so they know how to work the system, especially if they've been elders before. They know how lazy the elders are, and they work it to their advantage. It's pretty sick. It's pretty sick. But anyway, it really is. I shouldn't record and drive, especially in my state of mind right now, but I'm just glad to be home. It really is a global pandemic, and it is definitely of biblical proportions on more ways than one. And so, I don't know. I don't know if I can recover from the stunned way that I feel. I feel numb. So I'll let you know in a couple days if I can possibly recover from this. So anyway, I just want to tell everybody that I met this weekend. You guys are so awesome. Candace Conti and Cameron and Frank, and I mean just everybody. Oh my God. Oh my, or Steven, I mean. I don't know why I called him Frank. But anyway, until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. This is Smurf Girl. Bye-bye.